It's another rainy day here in Los Angeles, and for me, weather here is typically, 80 degrees and sunny. And any time it changes and it's cold, and cold is compared to like where most of America and Canada is with cold, it's not really cold. But there's always with me there's like memories or nostalgia always kicks back up with changes of the weather, whether that be to fall, spring, summer, winter. Everything kind of will always trigger a nostalgia and a sense of being homesick, which for me, because I moved around so much and didn't really have much of a home, I feel like it was adapting to the feelings of weather is kind of how I grounded myself and made myself feel more at home with where I was. And with the way my parents raised me, being raised in cults, is that the way I connected with people was through cinema and the feelings of the common complaining about weather. But with Los Angeles, anytime it rains, it's so beautiful. It's beautiful because when it stops, it's also really green. Reminds me of living in Victoria, British Columbia. And then when the lights of the street lights are all shining off, the glimmering of the rain is just something I just find so beautiful about the city. But anytime this does happen, it all of a sudden has me feel nostalgic for eras where if I look back on it, I wasn't necessarily happy, but nostalgia is a weird thing because a horrible thing that could happen or a memory could still feel like something that you could be missing. The pandemic and being locked inside. Sometimes I'm nostalgic for that era because what it is the brain remembering the good stuff. They're protecting you from the dark and the traumatic memories and feelings that you had. But the rain, it always brings me back to the Pacific Northwest and the rainforest that is there. Even if you're living in the city of Vancouver, Portland, Seattle, that is still a rainforest, which is why it rains all the time. Where people are complaining about the rain, it's like you live in a rainforest. What do you expect to happen? You might have cut down all the trees, but it's still a rainforest. You don't put up the skyscrapers and all of a sudden the weather gods go, hey, this is more of a city now. We're not going to rain as much. And that's what leads to the beautiful, dense forest that feels so much more alive than like the desert areas. Even though the desert areas are alive, walking through the redwoods of Northern California is a lot different than walking through the Joshua trees in Joshua Tree. It's just different, both equally amazing. But I don't have like the younger memories of when I was a kid of being in deserts. But a lot of the time would be me taking trips from Montana to Vancouver, and it would always be raining. But it is always that escapism of when I was living in Livingston, Montana, which I never fit in with. I never fit in with the styles of dressing it as a cowboy, hunting, fishing. All of that is like not something I was ever into. It's always funny when people are like, no, I know I don't hunt, but I do fish. I do fish. It's the same thing. It's just a smaller animal. It's like the type of people I like. I like to get my salmon, freshwater salmon, not that farm salmon. But it's what you're doing is you're helping an industry where that was actually a free fish. That fish had freedom. The other one was born in a jail and will live in a jail and die on a jail. That has no life. If anything, you're doing that fish a favor. But you're telling me you rather have, I mean, the freedom fish always tastes better. When I start thinking about the rain and everything, I start realizing my main goal not goal, but like what I always wished for is living in the middle of the woods, isolated in the middle of the woods, the calm, the only thing that you're hearing is the crickets, which are the highways of nature. very annoying. But you got to deal with it. They're there. And throughout everything, I'm like, you know what, man? It'd be so exciting to get to a point where I can move from an area into the Pacific Northwest in a cabin alone by myself, which is hilarious because Los Angeles, more or less, is a bunch of people who have moved here because of their dreams and either leave here because they don't want to pay the higher taxes, which then they complain about it. And then there's this comedian, Jeff Dye, who's like, God, get me out of this liberal Hollywood. Dude, first of all, declaring you're moving out of California is so like 2020. It's like, what are you doing? You waited 6 years? You go, where else are you? It's not better anywhere else. And it's stupid. It's like, you don't walk out and there's liberals yelling at you, telling you what to do. It's ridiculous. But I digress from that. But the weather, the changes always remind me of, oddly enough, it all latches back to movies and experiencing cinema and everything like that. And the weather changing, always for me, it's like, oh, it changes the whole vibe around what I can watch, and just, if it's raining in cinema and raining outside, it just adds to it, man. That's better than like 4DX. But with the changing of the weather it's my brain is tricking me into thinking I'm missing where I was before. Where I was before was an alcoholic, drugs here and there, way too much magic mushrooms. You know you've had too much magic mushrooms that when you do them, you're done having experiences that make you a better person. The last time I did mushrooms, I'm like, I got a lot of adult stuff to do. I can't deal with this for another 12 hours. And that's not where you don't want to be there at all. And then that is enough magic mushrooms. But I was still, the idea is if you're surrounded by a community that also drinks, that also does drugs, then in order to stay in that community, you do those things. Luckily enough, I'm not in that now. The closest I get to drugs is a new brew, Kratom and Kava. Then I heard that Kratom is close to the gas station heroin. I'm like, am I just being tricked into thinking because this is sold and the FDA has not approved it, with my conspiracy brain there being like, oh, the FDA didn't approve it, it must be good. Because the FDA doesn't want a bunch of healthy people walking around, because I listen to Alex Jones. I know what I'm talking about. But what used to is that when I get these feelings, is I'll start wallowing in my own misery of that. And that's what the drinking will do. But luckily, because drinking has got in the way of why I'm here in Los Angeles. I'm here in Los Angeles to make it as a comedian, make it as a storyteller, make a dent in the overwhelming amount of content are almost what people have to do now. Is it's the same thing with movies when it was DVDs, and then streaming now is you have to sift through all the bullshit to finally find something good and unique. And it's whether or not someone gives up along the way or just puts on something in the background and then scrolls all over their phone. And with the changing things around how people consume media, the thing that has right now tugged at my heartstrings and made me feel kind of sad is that the eventual demise of cinema and going to the movies, it will always be there. But it's also the embracing of companies on the idea of AI, and how it just seems like more and more, and then with everything consolidating and people trying to cash out while they still can, is I am so sick of hearing, oh, there's no money to make anything anymore, we're losing money, the stock is falling down. Meanwhile, what? The CEO's getting tens of millions of dollars in bonuses. The AMC guy got bonuses, and they're talking about losing money. The last I checked is if I had my own company that was losing money year after year and not changing their business plan at all, the only thing they're changing is, hey, give me more money, please. I'm doing a horrible job at this. And then they give them more money because it's not about the art. It's just about the stocks. And then eventually it's just going to turn into this apocalyptic nightmare of AI slop that is whether or not what the views of people watching and whether or not they actually want to view it are then siphoning off the original content is created. Not that these social media platforms haven't already created a climate where stealing and being a hack is something that is pushed along because it's more easily digestible and algorithm friendly. If you're just then creating content that only the algorithm likes and it feeds the algorithm, so you create more and more of that content and far away from the voice of who you are as an artist, but you have to do that in order to gain that following to sell tickets. And then when you're doing that said live performance, you're just performing for a camera in order to get more clips to put those out so you could sell more tickets. Well, the complete idea of what a live performance is getting slowly dwindled away, little by little, chiseled away, where it just becomes the thing where an algorithm has shaped the way we think, the way we create, and the way we watch things. And somehow, I feel like a nut to think that what this has basically turned into is the algorithm self-policing and creating a culture where everyone around it is trying to create the next thing and learn from the algorithm and appease the algorithm gods rather than appeasing who you would before, the viewers and the people that want to see original content. And what does that have to do with rain? I just went on a complete tangent there. The idea is I have AMC A-List. I have two AMC A-List accounts. Don't tell them I have two AMC A-List accounts. So I try to see, 4 to 8 movies a week. And I'll roll the dice and watch movies I don't think I'll like. And I'll watch, and then I'll end up having an amazing time. Neon Rated was doing this promo where you see 4 of their movies, and you get a stamp, and then you get a box set. I'm amazing. I got the box set, and I got the year of Letterboxd Pro. So exciting. But what that promo did is open up me watching this amazing animated film, Arco, which I have never wanted to. I don't like watching animated films. It's just not something I connect with real human people. And I had an amazing time. But what's happening now with AI, with all of this, is that slop and easily digestible material is what is watched and what is garnered. And whether or not even that following those likes even mean anything or that even translate in the tickets. It is not something that people all agree with. I think most people say, I want something made by, even if it's complete garbage from script to actors, to editing, to everything, directing. I'd rather know that it's the humans that were behind that I watch something completely fueled by the human brain than to realize that I just watched a 2-hour-long movie that was AI bullshit and AI created for just something to throw in a streaming service that someone will barely watch. I want the decision to know whether or not it's AI, because the thing is, what they know is that if you do create something and you have to put a label on it and then someone could choose to opt out of AI, most people are going to opt out of that AI bullshit. But what I hate about it is it being crammed down my algorithm. Even if I block it and go right past it, within minutes I see some bullshit and I can't stand it. If I see a show flyer where you made AI create this like 3D thing out of it, I don't want to go see your show. You're part of the same apparatus that is pushing and creating and giving more power to AI. What I want is the same thing when it comes to eggs. I want a label that says organic, human-made art, and then AI slop, because I rather watch something where humans try to create something and jobs are created out of it, and all those people with the side jobs, maybe them having that editing job there gives them the opportunity to then make their own, go out and direct and self-finance their own thing. But if all of a sudden you start replacing AI does that, the rumbling effects of all of that will change the entire thing. And I tell you what, the last thing I'm going to do is ever knowingly give any money to an AI artist. First of all, if you consider yourself an AI artist, go fuck yourself. I hate you. I hate your existence. And the reason why you're an AI artist is because you couldn't create your own art. You needed to wait for some apparatus to take everything that's ever been created and spat out your fucking AI nonsense. Got a real eater here. Okay. So I want the ability to know that this project is AI. When the Brutalists came out and they're like, yeah, we fed Adrian's Brody into this AI machine to make it sound more realistic. I want to know that. I want to know that before I go watch the film. Well, one, I may have watched it through a different lens. Two, I wouldn't have gave it 5 stars in my letterbox. And 3, I wouldn't have recommended it to people. I want original content made by people, not AI garbage. And that's one thing that you can expect from this channel is that I've watched other YouTubers who are like, Disney's going to have this idea where it's viewer-created content, and the guy's like, I think this is a good idea. The AI's happening anyways. This defeatism. I am not into it all. Well, it's happening already. People are going to do it already. Okay, so Disney's going to have an app where they allow AI? And then users are going to create that. Meanwhile, some guy's like, hey, by the way, I have an original TV show I made. You guys maybe want to watch that. Gets amazing reviews, but no one watches that because now you can create your own Mickey Mouse bullshit and share it. Hey, guys, look what I created by typing a couple words into it. Other than that, man, that's why I tell you, when it gets rainy, I get in a bad mood. But hey, this has been the Uriah Jokes, talking into a camera, into a microphone of a long-form thing that the algorithm must appease with you better get the good thumbnail.